Hello, hello. How's everybody doing today? I'm Ryan Flanagan. Cyrus, you want to tell them who you are?
Hi there, I'm Cyrus Roopers, and we're here to talk about some Amazon stuff.
So the main thing that we're going to be talking about today is Amazon marketing strategy and really the three elements, the core elements that go into being successful on Amazon, selling more, and running your account a little bit more efficiently. I'm Ryan Flanagan. I'm the CEO of Nuanced Media. We're almost 9 years old at this point. We've worked with hundreds of clients internationally. We've done over $150 million online in e-commerce sales, a lot on Amazon as well. Our biggest win last year is I believe we did $18.5 million in a little over 30 days. I think that was 6 weeks that it took us to do that. Cyrus, you want to tell them a little bit about yourself?
Sure thing. So I'm an online marketing expert. I've been working on Amazon inside the Amazon ecosystem for about 6 years. I had a little business with my wife in Amazon itself once upon a time. And yeah, for the last 6 years, I've just been working and trying to understand what it takes to be successful in the marketplace and then the ecosystem. And yeah, what we're going to be talking about today is a lot about those core elements.
Okay. So quickly before we get into this is supposed to be active. We want to be fun. We want you guys to engage. So feel free to like, comment, harry us, ask questions during the podcast. We are very friendly individuals. And there's a bad joke there somewhere, but I'll leave that out. And also, if you are on Amazon or if you're thinking about getting on Amazon, if you type the keyword in the comments below, we will run a free keyword analysis for you to talk about, basically examine how difficult it is to be to rank on Amazon for that keyword and some other things to really kind of analyze the opportunity for you. Okay, so let's get into this and start talking about what is the most important part of Amazon and marketing. So, before I go too much into that, I really want to say, this, as I said, was the topic, that Amazon marketing strategy, 3 core elements for selling more on Amazon. But this is really for people who are already selling on Amazon, and then people who are thinking about launching a product or already have an e-commerce site and are looking at launching an e-commerce site. And before we get into this, I want to do a quick poll to get some comments on this. What do you believe is the most important thing when it comes to Amazon? So what is the most important thing when it comes to Amazon? What are your thoughts on that? Okay, so let's talk about our Amazon marketing strategy and what we're doing here. And as I kind of alluded to before, there's 2 different types of people on here. People are already on Amazon, have it established, or looking to optimize, and other people who either are thinking about launching a product or have an established e-commerce site and are doing that. But I really do want to talk about a misconception here. And Cyrus, if you could kind of jump in here, what's one of the major misconceptions that people have when it comes to Amazon, being an Amazon seller?
One of the things that I hear a lot is there's this idea that Amazon is this massive place where anyone can basically set up an account and list a product and get sales instantly. And a lot of the companies that we work with, I mean, they come in and they say, okay, like, we're excited, we're going to go onto Amazon and we're going to instantly sell 1,000 units a day of a product without any sort of marketing or strategy behind that. And yes, Amazon is an amazing place to sell. It's an amazing place to find customers. It's an amazing place to get a lot of traffic and a lot of awareness to your products. But it's not that simple, right? It's not simply just spinning up an account and watching the sales roll in. There's actually there's a lot of real work that needs to go behind that in order to gain that momentum and really make good use of what Amazon can offer.
Okay, that's great. So our big question that we're asking before is, what's the most important part of Amazon marketing? We do have a Cecilia here who tuned in, She says a good product market.
Yeah.
And yes, that's actually a very important part. Because if you are marketing stuff that doesn't have that value, you're not going to do things. So I'm actually going to loop back and say the thing that we initially had on here is not the most important thing, but Cecilia's thing is the most important thing, is having a good product. Now, the second thing that really comes up to that is honestly the strategy. Having a strategy in order to launch your product to market is one of the most important parts, because it's very simple to go out there, like Cyrus was just saying, and just say, hey, I'm going to put this up and get it out there and see what happens. I'm going to make $1 billion because I'm on Amazon. But if you don't have a strategy and you don't really think about how you're going about the execution, there's a lot of ways that you could honestly screw up, even if you do have a great product, because you're not looking at it correctly and you're not looking at the opportunities. So this is something we mentioned in the last Facebook Live, but Amazon represents about 49% of all products that are sold, all e-commerce that's sold. And then about 49% of all product searches actually happen on Amazon again. And then, Cyrus, will you kind of walk into some of the things that you get, the benefits you get by actually laying out a strategy before you enter the Amazon marketplace?
Sure thing. And actually, before going into that, one of the beauties of working in the Amazon area is that there's so much data available, and Amazon has essentially taken this nebulous idea of getting more sales. How do we get more sales? That prior to the e-commerce world was more of an art than it was a science, and there's so much information available that it's really possible to, in the planning and the research process, to sort of reverse engineer and understand what success potential of a product might be, and things that you might want to do, or that you actually really need to do, is you need to first of all get a good keyword research, get some good keyword research, understand what's being searched on Amazon. That's publicly available information. What's being searched, how much traffic each search term gets, understand the competition for each search term, thereby understanding how difficult it might be to get to the first page where a lot of the traffic benefits are. So for any given keyword, you need to be on the first page, and from there you need to do a little bit of research into understanding, like, given the profitability of your products, how many do you need to sell? And first, to be profitable, then also how many do you need to sell relative to the competition to stay on the first page? And that dictates a pricing strategy, dictates your projected sales needed and the projected sales you want to have. And the thing with Amazon is that at its core, it's very much a search term. So it all starts with each little keyword, keyword by keyword.
Yeah, well, it really reminds me of back in the day. I'm not going to say how old I am, but back in the young days of the internet, it was very easy to go in there and optimize and come up #1 for certain keyword terms and really dominate. And Amazon, even though it is a mature market, there is the option, and I really like how you put this, Cyrus, was the reverse engineering. There's data that you can go and look at to find out how difficult it is to get to #1 for the term black socks for Amazon. And then what would that projected revenue be for you based on the velocity of sales and different things like that. So you can honestly, if you take a little time and do the research, you can find out and project pretty accurately how much revenue you're going to make off Amazon by basically going through this process and reverse engineering this and really looking at that. And that's pretty compelling. So quickly, I want to say, before you launch a product, because this is really A, for people who are thinking about launching a product, and B, for people who are thinking about, who are already established on Amazon. The people who are launching a product could also already have an established e-commerce site. But what are the things that you want to think about before launching a product on Amazon? So Cyrus, you want to take that?
Yeah, so it's and like we're talking about, the core of Amazon is gaining rank for specific search terms and keywords, and so if you develop a plan of, and this is, you have to develop a hyper-focused plan of what keywords do you want to target? What keywords are you going to put your marketing gusto behind to gain rank for? And why? First off, I mean, like, why are you targeting a specific keyword? Is it very strategically relevant? Is there a lot of traffic behind it? And once you have those, and once you have a sort of a suite of, let's say, 15 or so keywords that you're going to focus on in a particular phase, it gives you an idea of, first, the competition out there. You know, if you're slightly higher priced, you might have a little bit of an uphill battle because Amazon is a very price elastic market. But then again, if you also have a higher price, you have different tools in your tool belt. And when you understand what the keywords are, what the competition for those keywords are going to be, you can start to put together a suite of marketing campaigns, marketing strategies to sort of hit those targets and hit the sales numbers that you need to hit over a running 7-day period to rank and stay on the first page in the top 6 for those keywords. And then, you know, once you can do that, and once you're able to reverse engineer that it may take X sales per day, you'll get X sales per day once you hit page 1. You can really start to understand, okay, your overall profitability, your overall top line revenue, and if there should be pay-per-click advertising involved, what the cost of your advertising would be for that product. But that's all things you can figure out well before you launch.
Which is really compelling for product research, right? A lot of people don't necessarily apply lean strategies. You go out and say, hey, this yo-yo I have is the best yo-yo in the world because it has a 6-inch longer string. I'm going to go out and spend $500,000 on figuring out how to increase that string length, and then I'm going to launch it. What you can actually do with this is you can do some research up front and find out if there's a market for it or not, which is, you know, honestly the right way to do it before you go out and spend $100,000 on product development or anything like that. But it gives you a really good way to size the market and kind of be lean in your methodology with this. Okay, so that's one kind of Amazon archetype, is somebody with an existing product who's already had the e-commerce website, or somebody who's thinking about a product launch. What should people know about if they already have an existing account? Like, what type of strategy should they lay out if they already have an existing account and they don't know if they could improve their account?
So, you know, at the end of the day, it boils down to you have to focus on the right things, and you really need to focus on, you need to focus on the things that Amazon cares about are the penchant for people to click through to your product, the ability for your listing to convert that into a sale, and in effect, provided that you're providing a positive experience, which is evidenced by 5-star reviews, that you're improving the lifetime value of Amazon's customer. And that's the core of Amazon. You get rewarded if you do that, and in the process, so you're focusing on key performance indicators that are surrounding the click conversion, profitability, and customer experience areas. And it's really interesting though, because if that's all you need to focus on, Amazon actually, the software that Amazon provides and the KPIs that they provide, the performance indicators that they provide, actually don't help you optimize around those things. So I'll give you an example. There's a metric called unit session percentage, which in effect is your conversion rate inside of Amazon, but that's across all keywords, all traffic sources, all everything. And given that the ability for you to succeed on Amazon really happens or really matters, like it depends on what keywords you're ranking for. So it's at the keyword level. This overarching metric doesn't really tell you anything. It doesn't tell you how you can improve. If you need to improve this keyword, the conversion rate on this keyword, that keyword, it doesn't tell you that at all. And so that's kind of an interesting sort of dissonance where, Amazon wants you to improve their conversions, but they're giving you information that is frankly not that useful to improving your conversions. And so you really have to, don't be seduced into focusing on things like bestseller rank or your ACOS or things like that. Instead, you want to focus on, for example, conversion rate at the search term level, your blended ACOS, which is really your ad spend over your overall revenue, and things like where the ratio of how you're selling organically as a result of the ranking that you've gained relative to paid orders that have helped you to get to that point. And there's a lot of those things that you can glean from inside the database, or from inside Amazon, but it's not the most intuitive way to do it.
Okay. I do want to ask the audience while you guys are watching, if you guys have any additional questions for us or anything like that, please go ahead and ask while we're actively doing this. We are going to engage with questions during this. So the things I've really kind of gotten so far is, other than having a solid product, thank you, Cecilia, on that, but it's really laying out the strategy, understanding what you need to do, what you need to optimize, and that Amazon marketplace and the seller's market is really very scientific. And there's ways that you can kind of reverse engineer what's going on there, but you also need to know what KPIs to look at and things like that. And the compelling thing is, when you think even about the seller's market, is that I believe last year alone that there's 100,000 new sellers selling over $100,000 annually on Amazon. Again, it's 49% of all e-commerce is done on Amazon and 5% of retail. So this is a pretty big opportunity to look at. All right, so let's get into the nitty-gritty of the 3 core elements to selling on Amazon. And there's really kind of some 3 elements that we have to focus on, and we're going to have a little bit of a pro tip in here while talking about these things. So why don't you talk to us about the first core element here, search engine optimization?
Yeah, it's not just for Google. It's a little different.
That should be a tagline, by the way. Not
right.
just for Google.
It's a little different than Google because the way in which you go about optimizing your listing for the Amazon search engine is a little different. It's a little more structured, and you only need to have certain terms in your listing once in order to have it pop up in order to be indexable for that particular word or descriptor. But there's a lot of best practices around having a properly optimized title, using focused keywords with a good enough density inside of your product features, your descriptions, leveraging alt tags if you're using enhanced brand content. And there's a lot of fields and a lot of places to adjust and add in additional focused keywords and really bring your listings SEO one step above inside of the Amazon dashboard or inside of the Amazon console that isn't seen to an Amazon customer. And so that's like the core of it. After doing some good keyword research, setting up the listing so that it's properly indexed for every single descriptor that you might want, and then that's the bedrock of everything. And yeah, I guess as a little bit of a pro tip though, the one thing to keep in mind though, it's not, you're doing yourself a disservice if you're stuffing keywords and descriptors that actually aren't relevant to your product. You'll encounter more success, and it's really important actually to be ruthless in removing words that are irrelevant and not being seduced, just including words just because it seems like there might be a lot of traffic behind that word. It's really good to be really strategic about what it is you're trying to index and be relevant, and you see more success that way.
That's great to know. I'm just typing to some people online right now. Sorry, I think I spelled that correctly, but we'll post and we'll see how that works out. Okay, so that's a great pro tip right there. And then I got another thing is how long should it, I'll show this question here really quick, is how long should I make my product listing descriptions? So I guess that kind of comes on the SEO side of it.
Right. Well, there's caps, right? So every given field, Amazon gives you a certain limit, a character limit. And so for the product description, I think it's 2,000. Each key product feature depending on your category, but more often than not, it's 250 characters. Your title should be in the 100 character range. There are, but Amazon will let you know, and they won't let you publish your listing if you're above a certain character limit, and so they'll let you know.
All right, let's move to the second core element that we need to talk about for really how to make more sales on Amazon, the pay-per-click model. Can you walk us through kind of what has happened on the pay-per-click side of things?
Sure. So this goes hand in hand with SEO, and this is like one of the it's what makes Amazon such an enticing platform to be on, because your marketing is so inherently linked to what's called the organic halo. And if you have a properly optimized listing that is indexing for all the right descriptors, you can set up pay-per-click advertising, and there's two main ad units. It's called sponsored products. So essentially, you're paying to be at the top of search results, as if just like a regular product listing might look. And then there is now sponsored brands. So it's a banner that kind of shows it gives you a little more branding and creative leeway to kind of showcase your brand more. There's also product display ads, and they're coming on a little bit, where you can show up in other areas of the Amazon site to bring people back to your product. But it's still very much a work in progress, that one. But yeah, the idea is, like, if you have optimized your listing for a certain set of keywords, you want to take those same set of keywords which have just been optimized, your listing's just been optimized for, and you want to put them into advertising programs where you're advertising and buying visibility for those keywords. And the ad algorithm and the ad servers will start to serve your ad whenever someone types in, black socks being a good example. Like, if you type in black socks and you've optimized for that keyword, your ad's gonna start showing up for that particular, for black socks, but not for white socks. And as a result, you start to get the relevant traffic that you want. And it's really important to know that this is traffic that once they're on Amazon and once they're searching, they're ready to buy. So it's really powerful and really helpful to make sure that you're showing up in the most relevant spaces for this traffic that's ready to buy. And there's a lot of things when you have campaigns set up. There's a lot of things to do in terms of optimizing your campaigns to make sure that you're removing keywords that are totally irrelevant, adding new keywords that have proven to be profitable and that you want to kind of, let's say, double down on, adjusting bids here and there. There's a lot of things that you can do, while of course keeping a good reporting habit in place, to make sure that that your advertising is running as efficiently as possible. And I guess in the spirit of pro tips, one thing that I've learned along the way is that, like, the more you can segment your advertising, segmenting the keywords by match type, segmenting everything by different keywords by the bids, structuring your campaigns in a way that one match type is in one campaign. It's absolutely critical, and it gives you many more levers of control for the advertising, where frankly you don't have control as you would in Facebook and Google. So this is the more you can focus on this, the better. And there's like far more to it than a simple, one manual campaign setup that you may hear around in other Amazon areas.
Okay. Well, and looks like there's a Haley or a Hallie out there that says, "Show me the money." So apparently she's a big Jerry Maguire fan and is very, very into pay-per-click. Okay, so the third area here is the thing that I wouldn't want to say novice, but the new person coming to e-commerce might not really be familiar with, but really it's the importance of your conversion rate and what conversion rate optimization actually does for you and your campaign. And to quickly just speak about this, if you're in a typical funnel, if you have 100 visitors coming to your page, your product listing page, and let's say you have a 1% conversion rate, that means you make one sale. Now, if you have a 2% conversion rate, that means you make 2 sales. So that's double your money, right? That's double the conversion. So if you magnify that out, that's how important the conversion rate is because it can be 1% can be an order of magnitude of, doubling your sales. So when you think about conversion rate, a lot of kind of marketing geeks like Cyrus and I are, ooh, conversion rate, tell me more. Well, it's because of the importance of really doing that conversion rate and really looking at what's going on that. So Cyrus, will you want to kind of walk us through some conversion rate optimization tips and thoughts on the Amazon platform?
Well, yeah, and actually just to build off of what you were saying, like, the 100 people, when you have that conversion rate that goes from 1% to 2%, your sales go from 1 to 2. But let's say you add in another 100 people, you're at a 2% conversion rate. You're going to have 4 sales, and so your sales have doubled. And if you really manage and optimize your conversion rate while adding in more traffic, that's going to have an exponential effect on your business. And yeah, so inside of the world of Amazon, there's only a certain set of what makes Amazon so great is that, like, you're listing a product in a format or in a structure that Amazon has spent years and years and years split testing. So you don't have to do that quite like you would have to on your own website. And you just have to do a couple of core things. You need to, of course, write compelling product copy, organize your products accordingly. So if you have 10 different types of socks, all with different colors, but they're really the same product, it's better to organize them together. In doing so, it helps you aggregate reviews, and they kind of can work with one another to have. So you're having like a mini store of socks that people can kind of peruse around. That helps with the conversion rate, because if someone comes in to see a blue sock, they like the yellow sock. It allows you to still get the sale.
Right.
Enhanced brand content is super. If you're a trademarked brand, it's a very useful. I mean, by now it's almost an essential tool to have. It just helps conversion rate that much more, and it gives you an additional dynamic media format to present your product and present your offering. But at its core, the most important things, though, inside of conversion rate optimization are the images, and I'll get back to that in just a second, and then the title. Because the title, in addition to being a great SEO field, is also really important in the minute that it's the biggest block of text on the page, and it's the first thing that someone's going to see. So rather than keyword stuffing or like making it seem spammy, use it as a very crisp and concise way to promote promote what the product is. Get someone. The whole purpose of it is that they scroll down and they learn more about the product. They need to get to the images and the product features. So that title is extremely important. And then the images are, and this is, I guess, where the third and final pro tip would come in, is that it's really important to think strategically about how you're using your graphics and what you're conveying inside of them to sell the product. And this may not necessarily be just an image. It may be that you overlay certain annotations and certain, you show the product in use to give an idea of like use cases, or you may answer certain frequently asked questions using imagery. It's extremely that the images are like hands down one of the best ways to both improve your conversion rate, but also to gain an advantage, because it's an area that's not done well at all.
Yeah, it's compelling when looking at a lot of products on Amazon. You'll see that it's just pictures of the product, right? Because everybody believes that's all you want to see, but they're not seeing like engagement. Like, how big is this book you're selling? Is it this big?
Yeah.
And I'll do it this way. Is it this big or is it this big? Right? Like, and if I don't see that in relation with the person or them interacting with it, right? You just don't know. So really, that's a big optimization opportunity that you can really look at with that. All right, let's quickly talk about selling velocity and rank. So you kind of want basically, these three elements we talked about are really important because they influence selling velocity and rank. And Cyrus, do you kind of want to elaborate on that a bit?
Yeah, sure. So the way to think about Amazon is that it's, and I think Jeff Bezos once upon a time thought about it not in the since he's the creator of this ecosystem, probably not in this way exactly, but you have to think of Amazon as a flywheel where if you bring traffic into your listing and you have a decent sales velocity, meaning how many units per day you're selling of the product, Amazon as a system is going to provide you with a little more traffic. If you continue to convert that traffic, it's going to give you more traffic. And there's this virtuous cycle of get more, convert more, get more, convert more. And it happens in the picture of a flywheel. It starts to spin faster and faster and faster. And so it's, in the beginning though, it's the toughest part is to just get things moving. And that's where you really need to be extremely, hyper focused is the right word, to be extremely focused on just doing whatever it takes to get that initial momentum going. And then you'll see that Amazon's algorithm will reward you if you're doing all the right things, if you're converting on the right keywords that you should be, you're indexing for them, of course. It all happens. And then, the way to quantify that the flywheel, the success of the flywheel is if you are gaining rank on certain keywords. And so the name of the game is if someone's typing in black socks, you need to be on page 1, ideally in the top 6. And the way to do that is to build up that sales velocity so that if to be in the top 6 you need to sell 30 units a day, that you've built up your sales velocity to be 30 units a day, and you're indexing and you're actively marketing for that keyword, you'll end up on page 1 for that keyword.
That's great. So we do only have a short period for questions and answers here, and then we're going to have our kind of tune in next week side of this. We do try to keep these to half an hour. We're running a little bit over at this point. So some questions that we got from our through our Facebook page. Also, if you haven't liked our Facebook page, please do. You'll keep up with these and some other things. We're going to open this up to the audience. We have gotten some questions already through there. But one question that we got before is really, what's the difference between ACoS and blended ACoS? And also, what does ACoS stand for? So Cyrus, I'll turn it over to you for those.
Sure. So if you, so ACoS is advertising cost of sale, and it's just a very convoluted way of saying if you spent $1 to make $5, and $1 in advertising to make $5 in sales, your ACoS is 20%. And Amazon's advertising platform promotes ACoS as a metric. So it's you're seeing that you spent $100 and you made $200 in revenue. That's an ACoS of 50%. The difference between ACoS and blended ACoS though is that because Amazon is a platform of organic sales just as much as it is, and actually more so than paid sales, it's really important to realize that, okay, you spent $100 in advertising, you received $300 from advertising derived sales, so your ACoS would be 33%. But if you add in an additional, $600 or $700, let's just make this a round number. If you make this an additional $700 of organic sales, that $100 of ad spend is going up against $1,000 of total revenue. And so your blended ACoS is only 10%. And in thinking about it that way, it makes it more appealing to think about. It's actually a more useful metric or barometer to go by because you want to use the advertising platform as a way to gain organic rank, and so that's where focusing on blended ACoS actually helps you identify if that's working or not.
Yeah, and I think that kind of goes back to the selling velocity stuff that we were talking about earlier, and really how that relates and all that. And like most things, the Amazon environment is a holistic environment, right? It's not just one thing or another thing. It is looking at everything in a holistic or integrated manner and understanding how those work together. We have a question here from Sam and Samantha, and we're talking about seller velocity and rank earlier. Will product reviews help this? So I guess what she's essentially asking is, like, how important are reviews on Amazon?
So there is something to be said about, like, it does affect how the reviews and the overall customer experience. As a proxy for the customer experience, it does help with the ranking a little bit, but in part because Amazon's having a whole lot of trouble with not having people game the system, so to speak. It's a little bit de-emphasized. I mean, reviews are more so there for their conversion piece, and so they're extremely important because you need to provide that social proof to the listing and to the product. But from a ranking and a sales velocity perspective, not as important as your conversion rate might be. But I guess if you take it one step further, going from a conversion rate perspective, it's extremely important.
Right. It's because of the social proof, right? If you're not seeing any reviews or something, like I think I brought this up last week, but my wife and I, we were looking at stuff for our future child, and I was looking at everything on Amazon on the phone, and if they weren't listed on Amazon at the brick and mortar I was at, I wasn't going to buy it. And then if it was ranked on Amazon, it had to be like 4.5 stars or over with at least 100 reviews, right? Because otherwise there's just too much uncertainty for me. So those are, that's me. That's not everybody, but that's kind of how I gauge things, because I'm looking for something that I'm kind of consistent with. Okay, so I'm going to cut the questions of that because we are over time. Again, guys, we appreciate you joining us this week, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Like the Nuanced Media page, and you'll be kept up with all the Facebook Live events with us. The next thing we're going to talk about in the series is, honestly, how to sell on Amazon, the 3 methods to become an Amazon seller for all those people out there who are looking to launch a product or really get on Amazon and establish your presence on Amazon if they're selling offline in their own e-commerce store. Cyrus, do you have anything else for our viewers?
No, hopefully this is helpful. And thanks.
I hope you guys like us. All right, thanks, guys. Have a great one. We'll catch you next week. Cheers. Bye.